Okay, so Little Nightmares 3. Oh boy, this game sure has had a rough start to its life, hasn't it? Little Nightmares 3 has just recently came out, and yeah, a lot of people really aren't happy with this game.
What are you doing?
The majority opinion at the moment is that this game was just kind of a letdown, and after playing this game multiple times and finishing it myself, I wanted to give my own thoughts and opinions on this game, talking about what I think it does well and what I think it doesn't do so well, especially compared to the first two games.
Good grief. What's all this?
So, Little Nightmares 3 has 4 chapters. The first being the Necropolis, the second being the Candy Factory, the third being the Carnival, and the final one being the Institute. I actually don't think that the first chapter of this game is anywhere near as bad as most people say it is. I personally like the look of the chapter, and you know what? I do kinda like the giant baby as well. I mean, yeah, they probably could have done a little bit more with the giant baby, but when you take into account that this is the first chapter of the game, and these first chapters do tend to be a bit tutorial-ish, I do think I can let this one slide, and I do think I can accept it. And as for chapter 2 on the other hand, I love chapter 2. Chapter 2 is amazing. The second chapter takes place in this candy factory, a really just super cool location that so badly do I wish that the world was elaborated more for this chapter. It feels so much like the Maw, and the boss for this chapter is also pretty good. She's this sort of creepy spider CEO lady. She has 6 arms and she's pretty good. It did kind of feel as though they were trying to recreate those iconic moments from the second game with the teacher, and don't get me wrong, this character is no teacher from Little Nightmares 2, but she's got her moments. I do think she's pretty decent, and the twist moment where she reveals that she's actually like a spider is also a really cool moment in the game as well, if not maybe just a little bit too predictable. The carnival's pretty good as well. Most people who have played this game will probably tell you that this is the best chapter in the game, and while I don't think it's quite as good as the Candy Factory, it's still a very good chapter. I can definitely see why they used this chapter in so much of the promotional material, because I do definitely think this chapter is where this game's art style shines the most. I really do appreciate that they tried to do something a bit more original for this chapter's boss fight. You literally could have just given me a clown for this chapter, and I probably would have been totally cool with that. And last, and certainly least, we have the Institute. I really don't have that much to say about the Institute. I know, it might seem weird that the literal finale of this game is the worst chapter in the game, but yeah, this chapter really just didn't do it for me. Not just the setting of this chapter being just kind of like an overgrown asylum. Not only is that not really that interesting for a final setting, but I also thought that the final boss just didn't really live up. It's just nowhere near as cool and as epic as Little Nightmares 2's final boss. And yeah, this whole chapter kinda just sums up to a sort of very unsatisfying ending to the game.
I knew he'd make it.
There are so many moments in this game where the world just looks absolutely stunning. Supermassive absolutely killed it with these sets. And on top of the game feeling like a Little Nightmares game, it also has fairly good gameplay as well. I know a lot of people don't share the same opinion as me, but I actually thought that a lot of the puzzles and monster sequences in this game were pretty decent. There was never really a point in this entire game where I felt like a puzzle just dragged on for so unnecessarily long. Kind of like how the puzzles drag on in the DLC of the first game and in the later half of the second game. I genuinely did not expect to like the wrench and bow mechanics in this game as much as I ended up liking them. How both of the characters each have their own role to play in this game. The first one, Alone, the better of the two characters, has a wrench which you can use for melee combat, Kate, and you can also use to solve puzzles exclusive to her. And the second character, named Lo, has a bow which he can instead use for ranged combat, as well as, again, his own exclusive puzzles. I don't know what it is about this style of gameplay, but I like it. I really like it. Even if it just gives you a slightly different experience whenever you replay the game, that little something just goes a really long way for me. And you know what? Let's just segue from that into my final really good thing to say about this game. The multiplayer. Little Nightmares 3 is such a fun game to play in multiplayer. Honestly, this kinda makes me really wish that Little Nightmares 2 would have had multiplayer. Doing multiple playthroughs of this game in multiplayer has given me a Little Nightmares experience that no other Little Nightmares game has ever been able to offer me.
You've really let us down this time, lad.
But regardless, with all of those good things I have to say about Little Nightmares 3, the game is not perfect. Far from it as well. And I want to start off my critiques with this game with the biggest one of them all. Little Nightmares games are most well known for two things: the monsters, more specifically the boss characters, and the worlds in which these games take place in. As for the monsters and the boss characters, they're alright. I mean, they're nothing special, but you know what? I'd still say that they're passable. However, unfortunately, I cannot say the same about this game's world. The world of Little Nightmares 3 takes place inside of an area called the Nowhere. Within an area of the Nowhere, more specifically known as the Spiral. Now, I would imagine that a lot of people went into this game curious as to what the Spiral actually was. But for some weird reason, they never show you what the Spiral actually is. It literally just remains a mystery throughout the entire game. And it is so utterly weird, I cannot wrap my head around it. It really is a gigantic immersion killer, because you don't really feel as though you're anywhere in this game. You're just sort of in these random sets that just don't make any sense at all. My second critique about Little Nightmares 3 is sort of a little bit of an expansion on the first point, and that's that this game just doesn't really have any connection to the first two games. You see, unlike with Little Nightmares 3, Little Nightmares 2 wasn't just another Little Nightmares game. Little Nightmares 2 built upon what Little Nightmares 1 already established. We got to see more of the world and how this world functions. And on top of that, we also got to see more of Six, the main character of the first game. What did we learn new about the world of Little Nightmares and the characters such as Six in Little Nightmares 3? If your answer was absolutely nothing, you would be 100% right. With all that being said, I still do like Little Nightmares 3. In a nutshell, Little Nightmares 3 is a good game. It's not a great game, it's just a good game.